Test, check, 1, 2. Hey, what is up, guys? Today I want to show you the Ableton project of my latest release called Far From Home, which somewhat sounds like this. So the original idea actually started with another vocal that I got sent, and I just built some simple chords around it with the Ableton MPE function, which kind of became my thing. So a quick reminder, MPE, or also called MIDI polyphonic expression, lets you control basically the pitch of every MIDI note separately. And actually the chords are very simple. Let me just draw them in another MIDI clip. So we got a F major. Then we have a G major. And we have a D minor 2 times. So that's essentially the chords. What I like to do pretty much all the time is, since we're in A minor, I'm taking the 5th position, which is an E, and just play it over every chord. And that's basically it, looped over and over again. And at some point I was dumping the first vocal that I got and then tried to search something new. Cool thing is that I got my girlfriend singing the song actually, and she's usually not a singer, but she has a nice voice. So we recorded like tons of choirs, which are grouped in that project. But this should be approximately, I don't know, like 100 layers or something. We also recorded those kind of odd untuned vocals, which are right here, I think. I really love those ones. Then I did a bit of singing and kind of hid it under tons of effects. And I found this little sample on Splice, which somehow reminded me of Dune. So the main thing on the vocals was to give everything distortion, delay, and loads of reverb, that like we get a big atmospheric effect. So arrangement wise, we're having that one single saw layer, which is basically just a filtered saw wave. So the patch looks like this. It is really damn simple, with a bit of chorus on it, a bit of hyperdimension to give it a bit more stereo width, but nothing really special. And the cutoff is basically automating up all the time. Till the choir hits, actually. And then there's just stacked layers of the same MPE MIDI clip. First, we got that one right here, which is a kind of a cool patch I used on Horizon as well, which is essentially a saw wave and one spectral oscillator with, I think, sample that comes from Serum as well. And it's just like a reversed, like played forth and back loop of a very high-pitched sound, which is called Fat Rich Honk. And that kind of gives it a bit of an organ sound, I would say. That is stacked with even more saw waves, I think. Yeah, just slightly detuned saw waves with like 16 unisons and a bit of detune, and also filtered down. And I also layered it with some horns and strings. And there's a bass pad layered as well, which also is just a simple saw wave, I think. Let me check. Yeah, detune saws and filter, and probably distortion. Yeah, MPE kind of saw stack. There's a thing called space sample, which is just an atmospheric thing I got from Splice as well, I think. Which just sounded cool to like layer it underneath. And we got some white noise and some impacts from Virtual Riot sample pack, which can't be bad. So the big hook part right here is also becoming the build-up of the song. So we got the drums coming in, or filtered in actually, with a bit of reverb. So arrangement-wise, I wanted to have a big like choir hook moment and then kind of a contrast in the drop. So basically the drop gets really dry, the reverb is kind of gone from all the choirs, and it's just a pretty simple bass line and some drums. And this little drop lead sound, which comes in the hook part already, but is very in the background and very reverby and kind of gets drier and drier over time. So you kind of can achieve that with automating the reverb dry and wet. So it gets louder and louder, and then it gets kind of automated dry before the drop hits. The drums are nothing really special. I like to keep my drums really short and punchy and add loads of like snappy percussions that kind of make the swing of the song or the groove. The drop bass is just a simple saw wave with white noise and a pretty low filter or a low filter cutoff from a low pass, and then tons of distortion again. There's some OTT on it and some more compression, and then on the second half the kind of swelly bass saw pad comes in, which is just a detuned saw wave with filter automation, basically to make it like a plug or like a swell. And then there's a sine wave sub under it. Mixing wise, everything goes through my sidechain channel, which is ducked away by my kick drum, and that is the whole drop. The drop lead sound actually has all of the processing on the group where it's sitting in, and the majority of the sound and distortion is coming from Isotope Trash 2, which is also a nice plugin. With the, what is it called, Acid Vibe preset. After the first drop, there's another break. Which just plays with the MPE stacks again. And there's even more stuff layered. I got this little string section again. And I found this cool guitar riff on Splice. And now there is another melody over the MPE stacks we used in the first break. I just added up a note in every single MIDI clip actually. And also I added another layer which kind of plays high-passed saw waves. You probably can see that almost 90% is made up out of saw waves in my songs. The whole hook part is building up again, like in the first half, and then the drop is kind of the same saw wave stacks as the hook before. So I just wanted to like keep the vibe of the hook playing and just kind of everything coming in at the same time. So there's those saw waves, a bass layer, even more layers again, and then of course there's sub, and then this little drop lead thing comes in again in the second half. Not to forget more white noise, which gives more frequency spectrum. And what I really enjoyed was looping that vocal in the end, right here. And then the ending or the outro would be just one of the, like the main saw stack layer filtered down over time. And I added this little vocal thing right here. And that is essentially it for the project breakdown. I hope you had a good time and this was somehow interesting or inspiring, and see you guys next time. Bye!